As I always say, Mondays are the most boring days starting the week. But, however, as usual, I tend to keep your Mondays fun and exciting. So if you guys are big fans of the Japanese wrestling scene, you're in luck. This is what this episode is going to be about. We have two back-to-back shows from, of course, not back-to-back a day apart, but you know what I mean. We have two from Pro Wrestling Evolution from Volume 33 and Volume 34, both shows in Shinkiba. One, of course, that took place back in last April, and the other last May. So we're going to catch up with these already. And then, of course, our final review will feature a very unique event. It's more like New Japan versus DDT. But it features, of course, the DDT Extreme Championship between, of course, Super Sasadango Machine taking on Toru Yano. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, as always, we'll cap up our episode with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, when matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Lead Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Lead Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the yippa jabbers. It's time to start the meeting. So let's begin, of course, with Pro Wrestling Evolution with Volume 33. Okay, Pro Wrestling Evolution with Volume 33. Now, this is one of two shows that took place in Shinkiba First Ring, and this happened on April 28th. Yeah, so I'm sorry that I'm like 2 months away from this event, but I got caught up with all the other things. But luckily, I decided let's do it anyway. Now we opened up with a somewhat of a battle of the Haas in the women's division of course, in Pro Wrestling Evolution. We have Chika versus Mizuki Kato, who I believe is from, of course, Diana. So I think in this fashion, Kato has a bit more experience than Mizuki. And I mean, they were really were big women who tried everything humanly possible to the one to topple the other. But unfortunately, it was Mizuki who was able to pick up the win on Chika when she applied a big diving body press onto her. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, Mizuki Kato picked up the win. Our next match, we have Yuki Kanzaki taking on Shuji Ishikawa. So you probably can guess that this match was going to be interesting since Ishikawa is a veteran in the Japanese wrestling scene. Um, Kaza, Kaza, Kanzaki, well, he's from, I think, in DDT or Gambari. But anyway, not much about him I know, but Ishikawa was able to pick up the win when he applied one of a driver onto him, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Next up, we have, of course, Big Apple herself, Mei Shruga versus Soy. Now, it's not the first time these two have dealt with each other in the past. I mean, they fought each other, they teamed up with each other, and that sort of thing. Now, Soy, she, much like Chica, she is also a house wrestler. But when it comes to Mei, she's a bit of a high speedster. That's one of the things about her that you probably know. But Mei was able to counter whatever move that Soy would throw at her due to the fact that she is a high speedster, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But of course, as soon as the match was over, we jump into a post-match promo with Mei talking to Soy. I don't know what they say. I'm sure that they are developing a good friendship, and not to mention Soy has been very, very helpful being a regular member of the Choco Pro brand. But yeah, that's pretty much what we do know. Our next match, we have Kengo Mashimo taking on Suwama. So this match, I have to say, it was a pretty good one, not to mention Suwama, who's a veteran in the game, but Suwama and, of course, Mashima were unable to successfully try to pick up a win from each other. So it ended, of course, in a time limit draw, and just like that, it was over. It surpassed up to 15 minutes. Now, our next match is our main event featuring, of course, our women's tag team. We have coming all the way from Sendai Girls. Well, one of them is from there, the other one is a freelancer, but you know what I mean. We have Red Energy, consistent of Miyuki Takase and Mika Iwata. They take on, of course, Zones and Hiroyu Matsumoto. Now, for those who don't know, ever since Zones made her appearance, she's been teaming more often with Matsumoto, and it's a pretty good one because Matsumoto and Zones, they are a very strong, capable team. But when it comes to Red Energy, they are a very good cohesion team that have years teaming up with each other, and that's always been played out. But unfortunately, Mika Iwata was able to pick up the win against Zones, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But during the post match, it was said that Zone would like to have a singles match with her. Luckily, that's the one we're going to review next, right after this. So let's, of course, enough with the Japan on this one. Let's move on with, of course, with more Pro Wrestling Evolution with Volume 34. As we continue with more with Pro Wrestling Evolution, this is Volume 34. This took place a month after it, which is, of course, on May 22nd, and this is day 2 of their Shinkiba series that they've been doing. Now, prior before the matches, I did reported this. There was a big press conference that took place at the start of this entire event. They unveiled, of course, the first ever championship, the Evolution Women's Strongs Championship. Now, of course, you probably ask yourselves how this would happen. Now, not too much information was told, but this is what I do know. Apparently, all 4 girls who are in fact part of the roster of Evolution, like Soy, Chica, Chi-Chi, Zones, all 4 of them are in fact will competing. However, each of them will be competing against wrestlers who are regulars or outsiders of their promotion of this promotion, and this is who they'll be facing. Soy will be taking on Momoka Hanazono. Chika will be facing Chanyota. Chi-Chi will be facing Natsu Surime. And then finally, Zones will take on Aki Shozuku. Now, of course, it's interesting that many of these women will be involved. Now, of course, when it comes to Natsu Surime, we know that she's very ambitious when it comes to pursuing championships, and that's always been her goal. But Chi-Chi, in my opinion, I feel like she should be the one to win this championship and carry this promotion under her back in the women's division. And I think many people will definitely agree on that if you follow her. I mean, Many people did claim that she was a prospect, and after her first year match against Zones was very, very disappointing. Everybody were rooting for her, but yes, we'll see what happens. But of course, Chi actually did update a bit that she'll be returning soon. Now, this tournament, of course, will take place later on this month, I believe. But let's see what happens. But as of right now, let's move on, of course, with our first match. Our first match, we have Chica taking on Yuna Manase. Of course, everybody knows who Yuna Manase is. Frankly, I missed out on the Kitsu Women's Pro Wrestling show. She was just here, of course, recently. Yet, what was it? This past Saturday. But unfortunately, I was unable to go because of my, let's just say, my regular day job has cost me a bit more of a tiredness. But it was a pretty good match. Not to mention, Yuna Manase is much of a Haas wrestler. She was able to pick up the win when she applied, of course, a lariat, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Next up, we have a three-way match in the men's division. We have Takuya Nomura versus Dan Tamura versus Shuji Ishikawa. Now, when it comes to three-way matches, we all know anything could happen as we see it. Anything would moment. But however, there was an interesting moment where Nomura had Dan Tamura right where he wanted it, wanted Ishikawa. However, there was a misfire coming from Ishikawa. But however, Ishikawa was able to pick the win when he pinned Tamura, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Excuse me. Our next match, we have tag team match. We have Yuka Satsuki teaming up with Ayame Sazumura from 2AW. They take on Soy and Momoka Hanazono, which interesting is we know these two ladies will be facing each other in the tournament to determine who will be the first ever Evolution Strong Women's Champion. And of course, there was some interesting dynamics between these two. No secrets from there. But however, it was of course Soy that was able to pick up the win onto what's her name, Anyatsuki, when she applied a single leg crab hold, and just like that, she had no choice but to tap out. So Soy picked up the win for her team. Our next match, we have Toma Awasaki taking on Suwama. So of course, Suwama being a veteran that he is, he was definitely going to pick up this win. However, it was not an easy task for him because he applied the Unagi. The first attempt failed. Second, well, he was able to pick up the win just from there. Now, our main event, we have Zones taking on Mika Iwata. We know that Zones is capable of winning this match, but Mika Iwata, she's a deadly striker from anybody. If you guys ever seen her kicks, she is spot on deadly. And just like that, she was able to pick up the win, but she did it by a pinfall, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So that's pretty much it what happened in Evolution. Now, there is another show I haven't seen yet, and this one of course features Suwama's debut anniversary show, so hopefully I get the chance to see it, but if not, I apologize. So let's move on to our last and final review, and this one is DDT versus New Japan. Okay, DDT versus New Japan. This is between Toru Yano, and of course, Super Sasadango Machine. Now, this event was about, of course, those two. Let's just say this was about the DDT Extreme Championship. However, something interesting happened in this match, so I don't know how to explain it for all of you. Let's just say there was a match within the match and another match within the match, that sort of thing. So the entire time while this was happening between Yano and Super Sendango, apparently some of the young boys from both respect promotions, Daiki Nagai, who represents New Japan, and of course Kazumi Asumi, representing DDT, decided to fight each other, and representing, of course, Yano and and Sasadango. Now, the first attempt ended up in a 3-minute time limit draw. Then, of course, there was a restart that took place, and then, of course, with another time limit draw after 5 minutes. And that's when things got a little interesting. Apparently, both sides had their friends. As you all know, Yano teams up with Tanahashi. They call themselves the Bebop Tag Team, but they're joined by Yo. And of course, Super Sasadango Machine has Akito and Antonio Honda. Now, of course, we know Antonio Honda. Of course, as you know, he's a storyteller. He likes to play games, have a bit of fun, and that always plays out. But however, in this match, Yo had this match won right from dead to rights, but it was what's his name, Tanahashi, that picked up the win when he applied a high five flow onto, of course, on Sasadango Machine. But when you thought this match was over, it didn't go according to plan for, of course, Super Sasadango Machine. So it ended in a 12-man tag team. So basically, everybody who's participating in that match, Yo, Akita, Antonio Honda, Tanahashi, Yano, and Super Sasadango Machine, they all teamed up to face, this is who they represent, Ken Oka, Hiroshima, Toru Owashi, Mao, and of course, the boss of DDT, Fire! Yep, Shinjiro Takagi. So you probably can guess there was going to be some interesting moments. I mean, yes, Honda with his usual tricks and all that. But however, there was another moment where Tanahashi once again was trying to take the glory off the Yo, but Yo was able to pick up the win onto Takagi, and he defeated him by applying of course, the Dragon Suplex. However, while that was over, well, as you all know, it was never over between Toru Yano and Super Sasadango Machine, so the match ended, of course, in a double countout. So you can say that this was like they had matches within the matches. You know what I mean? It's interesting. It's weird. Now, some of you may think, "Is this for real, J-Rod?" I saw it myself. I seen weird things in wrestling. I mean, wrestling in saunas, wrestling in parks, wrestling in pools, wrestling in of course in trains. So you name them. But yes, but it was a fun show, not gonna lie. But it was a fun one. So if I do recommend you guys should watch it if you ever get the chance. So check it out. Was recently, so check it out. So right as I run out, let's end things here with this one and move on with some news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin, of course, with upcoming events. First things first, we have GCW updates. Now, as you know, they'll be in Coney Island on the 19th of July. They announced that the GCW World Title will be defended. Effie defends her belt against Derudo Evil, Charles Mason. So I am like saying, hopefully he does not win. That's the last thing GCW needs, is that psycho freak getting that belt. Now, many of you know that Shotzi Blackheart has recently, as you know, returned to the Independent. Well, GCW has announced that she'll be attending very other ones. She'll be in Little Rock, Arkansas on the 20th of June, then Dallas on the 11th of July, and then of course the Japanese shows between the 28th and the 30th of July, and then of course at Rutherford on the 1st of August, and of course Atlantic City on the 24th of August as well. So that's pretty much her schedule. So I'll keep you guys updated more on where she's going to be at. Wrestling Revolver has announced for the Cage of Horror events will take place on the 14th of June. There's going to be a Jerry Lynn Invitational qualifying match in a three-way. We have Ninja Mac versus Damian Chambers versus Crash Jackson. And then, of course, we have the Remix Championship. Jake Chris defends it against AJ Francis. Deadlock Pro Wrestling has announced for the Victory Lap on the 15th of June. The DPW Women's World Title will be defended. Dani Luna defends the championship against Nicole Matthews. And then finally, Spark Yoshi Puroesu of America have their Ignite Texas show on the 29th of June. They announced Charity King will be participating. So that's pretty much it what we have for our upcoming events. Let's talk about, of course, some developments. Now, as you all know, recently Shotzi Blackheart, I did mention her. She is participating in GCW. Well, she had this to say recently on her Instagram page, and I think some of you may find it hard to believe, but I do believe her word on this one. She said that she shares she made more money in 2 days in the independents that she used to make a week working for WWE. Now, some of you may think it's a load of horse crap, but the truth is, it's true. You make more money in the independents. Look at Matt Cardona, all the merch he had to sell during in the independents. The Bucks did the same thing. So is I don't like to say his name. I know some people don't like to talk about this about him because of what he did back in 2020. I'm talking about Joey Ryan. He actually had that same thing. So basically, some people would say that, but yeah. Now, Brian Cage, this was reported by Corey Bremen. As you all know, he went under a uh, under a underwent a treatment for, of course, in April that he had, and then he returned back in April. And then, of course, he had um, then 4 days ago, according to this, he underwent a knee replacement, and now he's back in the gym. So it's still unclear when will be returning due to his injuries and treatment he has doing. So I'll let you guys know. Now, if you guys saw Worlds Collide, well, the Fightful Select reports that Mr. Iguana made a good impression to the WWE officials, and they're saying to talk about making merch and possible making appearances in NXT. So I have to say he really made a good impression. So let's see what happens from there. Many of you know I talked about this recently. Yoshi wrestler Yu has announced her retirement. There's going to be a show that will take place in Shinjuku Face. Tickets will be on sale on the 18th. But Yuna Mizumori, for those who don't know, she actually knew her, and she had some things to say about her. But let me pull it up for all of you so I can read it. Here it is. I could feel Yu's passion for life and professional wrestling. I was moved to tears. I want to support Yu's decision, but the truth is I feel sad. I definitely want to fight Yu with my current self before I retire. So basically, she wants to have a match against her before. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you made her gives her a match at Stardom or wherever. But yes, but we'll see. Now, Shuri recently, as you know, has some things to say towards Sareee because, of course, she showed up in Corkin Hall right after she defeated Alex Windsor, and this is what she said. Oh, I've been provoked like that. I wasn't even scheduled for the match today. If she was going to say things like that, then let's go to London together and come back so we can have those experience feeling together and then have our match. So basically, she was not scheduled to wrestle, but she was allowed to be there. That's the thing I think that irritates her. Now, Dave Meltzer talked about Corey Graves, about his role as a commentator during Worlds Collide, and this is what he said. He did a great job, and probably was the only announcer in WWE staff who could have pulled it off that one off. So basically, he's being recognized that he did a good job. I have to say he did a pretty good job. I mean, he did ask questions about the wrestlers themselves. He mentioned about certain lineages, that sort of thing. So I have to say he really put out some good knowledgeable information that he probably did not know about, but he did follow. So that's good of him. So I think that's pretty much it for what we have. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we have NXT. A lot of things will be taking place. I'm sure people are excited. We still come out of the aftermath of Worlds Collide this past weekend, so we can't wait to see what happens. I'm sure we're going to see more battle lines being drawn for upcoming title matches, and so on and so on and so on. So we'll see how things will progress from here on out. If I'm going to do any other reviews, I'll see what happens. The reason is this because I have early work in the morning, but by the time this video is out, I'm already at work and uploaded the video. So we'll see what happens. So as of right now, I'll say this, that I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.